Are you a new player to Marvel Rivals and you struggling to figure out the different heroes and they wildly different playstyles? Are you in matches trying to figure out where you should be playing this hero and how you should be playing them? Or even what hero you want to play at all? Because me too, I'm struggling bad out here. If you get some tips, please let me know. No, I'm just kidding. But I did decide to play every character Marvel Rivals, and I picked out my own personal characters that I feel like need to be mastered when playing this game. While going through the list, I'm going to give you some tips, tricks, and setups that I've been employing in game that have been helping me get MVPs in most of my matches. But before we get into the list, I please ask that you hit that like button below. It really helps me get seen on this platform. And if you're enjoying the content, hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's jump right into it with Neymar. Neymar could definitely be difficult when he first starts out. Getting the hang of those turns is no easy game at all, but realistically I feel like he's the best anti-diver and team suppressor on Marvel Rivals. And before I continue, I'll give a couple definitions. So a diver, or someone who dives, would be a character that can jump into the back lines or move quickly, such as Spider-Man, who uses primarily melee. Now they would typically target someone like the healer or whoever just to get that quick damage in and disrupt the team or get a quick kill. A team suppressor, however, is someone who can disrupt the progress or push of the opposing team. For example, with Neymar, if you can get those turns up high enough, it'll make that team have to focus on those before they can even get to you guys. The beauty of Neymar for me comes in his right click. If you didn't know, his right click sends his turrets that are on the field into a berserk state, causing them to do enhanced damage, which means this very quickly turns into a jumping. Venom pulled up thinking he wanted some. Nope. Terrence made sure that hadn't happened. Here goes Spider-Man thinking his game's up. Swing over into this ass whooping. Oh, there you go. Here comes Black Panther throwing the lunge. Guess what? He ain't lunging home. Aside from his combat skills, even his defensive abilities provide a mobility shift for him. Just crack open his defensive barrier. I think it gives you about 3 seconds before it opens up on its own. Just gives you a point to get up high, get some height, and get away, or back a few seconds before your healer gets back. Just to wrap up Neymar, he is a powerful combatant who quickly turns any battle into a 3v1 with his turns. So do not sleep on that. One thing that's slept on by everyone in this community is his defensive and mobility abilities. So please be sure to use them to your advantage. Now let's get on to our next person, which is Hulk. Overall, Hulk is just a well-rounded character. He does a good amount of damage without being too OP. He has that mobility with that huge jump. He has a lot of durability to take damage, but not too much that he's just overpowered. Speaking of that, I'd say the best thing about Hulk is probably his shield and his jump. The shield having a durability of 200. It was nerfed recently as it used to be 250, but you don't even notice. When you throw on that shield for your team and you guys do a big push, it seems like you just have invincibility frames the way you just get through that map. That sort of jump sometimes makes me feel like a DPS. I can just get height and mobility and sneak up on like a Black Widow or a Loki that might have just shifted into a clone. It's easy to feel like an assassin sometimes, ironically, as Hulk. One thing I notice about Hulks, even myself sometimes, we don't really manage our health very well, and that's a big thing for Hulk, is managing your health. You always jump away from the team, and it's easy to separate yourself and just get damaged and knocked down, and that's why you'll see those raging Hulks where they're talking about the teams not keeping up, but in reality, you're just dragging the team down. Best thing I like to do at the beginning of the matches is just kind of stick with my team. That way, when I'm protecting them and getting some of that damage off, or even getting kills from the people who are just rushing us, I can spot out a weak link. That weak link could be anyone from a DPS to the healer, maybe even a tank just lagging behind or overly rushing at times. Spot them out and stick onto them. The weak link, I would say, in my example, could also be a sniper or somebody like Moon Knight who always depicts height. Spot them out, keep on their back, make sure they can't do anything. Last I would say, don't sleep on Banner. I know Banner can feel weak at times. He only has about 200 health, but that bomb and his gun are nothing to be laughed at. You can easily use that bomb as a getaway point or just something for you to dodge around and do some damage. Please remember that your health does replenish as soon as you do any transformation, be that into Hulk or into Monster Hulk. So feel free to get your hands a little bit dirty as Banner. He is a good character either way. Just get the hang of him. The next hero is going to help us get through some emotions about their gameplay, and that hero is Mantis. Mantis is the easiest hero to master, and everybody should be able to play her, is what I thought. However, she is actually extremely tough to play. I was playing her wrong the entire time, and I believe some of you are too. When I initially played her, I would always hit my allies with the right click multiple times, assuming that they needed that in order to be healed. However, if you look over here in this bottom right, just above your health, actually showing you who is being healed or buffed and for how long they have left with it. When I was doing that re-click, it was only restarting a timer that they had on this screen here, but it does give an immediate 55 health upon cast, so in a pinch, use it. Speaking of pinches, a final push to the ring can be a huge one, and Mantis' ultimate comes in handy for that. It gives basically a god mode field for a short period of time, so save that ultimate and be ready for a needy moment. Staying in the floor department with my next hero, Groot. Groot's area denial makes him one of the most valuable players when used on a team. Not only can you block people's paths with the ironwood and thornlash walls, I like to use it to make an arena to block in healers and trap out sort of problematic heroes like Wolverine. Groot's just overall an amazing hero, so not really much needs to be said, but I'll give a setup that I've been using in point capping. I set up my walls in a way that I would like, and I name it like that arena that I mentioned beforehand. Sort of like a U shape, if you will, or you can just kind of do the two walls sandwiching in between. You're gonna launch your ultimate, which does about 70 damage once it hits, and then that field itself is gonna do, I think, it's about 15 to 20 damage each second for about 3 seconds. Just unleash on them after that with your primary and launching that spore bomb with the right click, and it's devastating. I'm talking rain and eliminations, and speaking of rain, you can't have rain without a little Storm. Storm is an amazing option, especially with the buffs that she received that drastically increase the speed and damage for left click, right click, and the bonus health she receives from her Hurricane ultimate. So let's go over some things that can help you out in your gameplay with her. The name of the game with Storm is going to be her weather control ability. It grants a 16% boost to yourself and an 8% boost to your allies. So, for example, if you have a magic on your team, her normal attack does about 65 damage, and 8% boost would bring it to about 70 damage. Same with Storm. This also applies to her, as her left click does 55 damage on a norm, but with that 16% damage boost applied, it becomes 64 damage per hit. Her right click goes from 80 damage to 93 damage with that boost. And that doesn't even compare to her goddess boost, which gives her a 30% boost and her allies a 12% boost. So this will bring her left click up from 55 damage to 72 damage, and her right click from a whopping 80 damage to 104. I'm gonna let you do the math on that 12%, but I'm telling you, getting the hang of Storm is gonna be amazing. Last thing that sweetens the pot for Storm, her ultimate. Her ultimate essentially acts like a battering ram when she just swirls around the area, eliminating things with heavy damage for about 8 seconds. I'm not saying you need to go gung-ho with it, especially in ranked. You should definitely monitor your usage of ultimate and use it at the most opportune time. But if you need a hefty push, Storm's your girl. Our last hero can be a little bit tricky to master, but don't let him fool you. In the long run, he is worth it. And that hero is Loki. I'm still learning Loki, but his kit is just all about embodying mischief. Swapping out with clones, fading out of sight only to pop back in and do some damage or heal your teammates in a dire moment. It's just insanity. One thing I like to do with Loki is place my clones in a diamond position aligned with myself. This way I can control where they're fighting, pushing, or where retreat will be happening at. This also works in my favor when we're in tough positions in a fight, because his healing circles can be placed in multiple areas depending on where your clone is, allowing teammates to retreat or stay within an area to keep fighting. Staying with the clones, one more awesome thing about them is that say you need to break a stalemate, you can phase out, get some height, and target a healer. Any clones you have on the field will also target that same target you're looking at that moment, provided that they can see the target. That comes in handy when dealing with really high durability characters such as Hulk or Thor. Just to dive a little bit into his healing, Loki's healing is OP. His regeneration circle provides 100 health per second for 5 seconds, but I will say it does get a pretty big cooldown with 25 seconds on it. This is amazing. It not only provides such a big health amount, it'll keep you there for quite a while. 5 seconds is a huge timer, especially when you guys are being pushed. And I did actually recently learn that it converts further damage that you're taking. For example, if you're getting pushed and you guys are still getting hit with damage and fighting as the circle's out, that damage you're getting is getting converted into further healing, while it's still going. Loki is just broken. Just as OP as his healing is his ultimate. Loki's ultimate, God of Mischief, allows you to take on the form of any targeted person, be it ally or enemy. In there, you get access to their full range of abilities except for their team up. That instantly gives you access to their ultimate as well, which you can clearly see where I'm going with this in terms of how it can turn the tides of that battle. So choose carefully on who you pick. His abilities can be a bit, I'd say, tricky, so be careful. And that's going to be all for my list. If you made it this far, you must have enjoyed yourself somewhat, so please don't forget to hit that like button. Once again, it really does get me seen on this platform, and I really need to be seen on this platform. If you do enjoy the content that I put out, please hit that subscribe. There'll be a lot more like this coming in the future, and I would love to see it here. Do you have a must master hero from Marvel Rivals? I would love to know. Please share it down in the comments or down below. I am obsessive, so I will be reading all of them. My name is Tenergy. You guys have a good night. See ya.